Hello everybody, it's Tracy Di Bartolo, Thermomix consultant again. Now, I'm running a very behind, so I am probably going to whiz through this pretty quickly, I think. So, I am making the meatballs in a sticky plum sauce. Not long ago, I did a little live and showed you how I stemmed my plums and get them all ready. And now I'm going to continue with the recipe because this is what we're eating for tea tonight. So, I've got to get a move on. It's a TM6 recipe. Meatballs in sticky plum sauce. Start cooking. Okay, so it tells us to set aside a couple of jars and sterilize them, and that's happening over there. So that's ready to rock and roll. It would probably help if I had a bowl in the machine. I've been swapping bowls like a mad thing all afternoon. Okay. Right, here we go. 4 dry pitted prunes. Always make sure that if you're putting in prunes or dates or anything like that, that you cut them in half so you know that the pips are definitely not in there. The next thing is going to be the 500 grams of the fresh dark red plums. So these are the ones that earlier today, and you can go back and find the Facebook or the YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube. I just steamed them for a bit so that they were easy to get the pips out. So I'm going to pop in. It will look like a murder scene again because they are the most beautiful, juiciest red plums gifted to me, which is, I'm very, very lucky to have such lovely people around me who give me all this beautiful fruit and veg. Now it says 500. I've got a little bit more than that. My recommendation would be that when you're dealing with so strawberries, plums, apricots even that have got a reasonably high sugar content, don't go too much over, even though you're well and truly under in terms of volume. It's the sugar content. So 583. I wouldn't put much more than maybe 600. Couple of garlic cloves, they're little, so I've put 3 in. A piece of fresh ginger thrown in there. I've peeled it. A quarter of a teaspoon of some ground cinnamon goes in there like that. A teaspoon of star anise, which I don't have. So there you go, not to worry. I'm just going to, I don't know, put in some Chinese 5 spice, a little bit extra. I think it asks for some more in a minute. Yeah, so it says a half a teaspoon. So I'm just going to put in a whole teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice. Funny story, I didn't have any. As I was getting everything, this is the only thing I didn't have. Thank goodness, I have a Thermomix. And so I just literally made some Chinese 5 spice out of all of the whole, whatever the recipe is. I just followed the recipe. So there you go, now I have some. 100 grams of raw sugar in here. And 60 grams of apple cider vinegar. In it goes. Oop, did I miss one? See that, everybody? I missed it. I pressed and it went like skip, skip. So even though it's guided cooking, you still sort of got to half pay attention. A tablespoon of tamari. Now I didn't have actual tamari, but I've just used a gluten-free soy sauce as its substitute. 80 grams of water in there, awesome, and a half a teaspoon of the nice sea salt flakes. Okay, what it's telling me to do is you put the lid on and then it wants you to put the Verona, okay? So we're going to put the Verona on here like so, and next it's going to cook for 15 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 1. So I'm going to cheat a little and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, next, where I've got it all set up, exactly the same recipe. So it's going to do the cooking for 15 minutes over there while I continue with the recipe. So what we're making in there is the actual plum sauce. So this is a batch of the plum sauce that I made a week or so ago, and one batch will make 2 jars about this size, And when we go on to do the recipe, we're going to use some of this to make the glaze, so the plum glaze, okay? What I like about this recipe is that I can do that part of it anytime I want. I can do it in advance. I could do it the week before, whatever. Have the plum sauce, put it into your sterilised jars, pop it in the fridge, and that part is done, okay? And then you've actually got ready-made plum sauce to do this same recipe as many times as you want in the future. Okay, so that is what it's doing in there. That was just to blend it and everything before you put it in the jars. I'm going to skip all of that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make the meatballs. Meatballs, I hear you say. All right, first thing is it wants me to put in a piece of bread torn up. I don't have a piece of bread torn up. I have, however, got some breadcrumbs in the freezer because before my bread goes stale, I pop it in the Thermomix. I just turbo it so it comes into lovely fine breadcrumbs, which you can kind of see like that. I store it in a plastic container, pop it in the freezer. You've always got fresh breadcrumbs. So I'm kind of, you know, just making it up as I go. That kind of looks like about one piece of bread torn up. Right, some spring onions already chopped up, just in quarters, that's all. And lid on, measuring cup in, 5 seconds. Awesome, done. Next, somewhere I've got a spatula. Don't panic. Here's one. Scrape down the side of the bowl with the spatula. So really the idea of that was just it's going to chop up your bread into breadcrumbs. I already have breadcrumbs. Chop up your spring onions. What else did I put in there? Can't remember. So whatever else was in there, that is now chopped up. Good. Next. Pork mince. Who was with me the other day when I minced my own meat? I didn't actually do pork that day, but I did it earlier today. So 500 grams of pork mince that I have minced myself, just from a whole piece of pork. It's a little bit over 500 because I did quite a big batch and I just halved it, and the other half is just going to go in the freezer for another time. 1 egg. Already cracked because the egg cracking fairy has been. And then some black pepper, which I will just, says 1/4 teaspoon, but you know, I'm just going to do that, and that will be close enough. Lid on, mixing the MC in 10 seconds. So what this is going to do is it's just going to bring all the ingredients together. And it's actually going in reverse, so it's put itself automatically into reverse. You don't want to chop up the meatballs any more than they all the pork already than they are. Okay, now this is exciting. I'm not sure that you can see this. There's your mince and all those other bits and pieces ready to go. I don't know that you can see this on my machine, but there is a video on there, brand new for the TM6, and they keep rolling out more and more recipes all the time. So what we do is you can read the instructions, it's got a little picture, but if you want even more help, then all you do is press the play button, and that is actually playing the video of somebody rolling up the meatballs. Get out, right? That's pretty fantastic, I think. There you go. Now, you can watch that every time if you want, or you can just watch it the once and then you'll remember for next time. But it just shows you exactly what they mean when they say roll it up and put it into the tray. Next. So that's really what I need to do, but you don't need to see me rolling up meatballs because that's boring. But I will go back and do it in a minute. Clean and dry the mixing bowl. So I could take that out, spend the time rolling it, etc. but I am just going to grab my next clean bowl. And in your case, what you could do is you could just scrape that out into another bowl, give that one a quick wipe out and with water, and then just continue on. Okay, so in here I have already put 100 grams of water, 70 grams of tamari, or if you don't have tamari, just gluten-free soy sauce, because then that makes, except for the bread that we put in, it would make it gluten-free. A tablespoon of sriracha sauce. I don't really like sriracha sauce, so I substitute that just for some sweet chili sauce. And I put a bit more than a tablespoon in, just to give it a little bit of bite, but not too much. And then there's 20 grams of rice wine vinegar, which you can easily buy from the supermarket. It's in a, what is it? It's in a little yellow thing like that. This is quite a popular brand. Coles is where I shop. So that's all you look for, rice wine vinegar. And then we put 150 grams of this reserved plum sauce. So this is the plum sauce that's currently cooking over there, but I'd already done a batch before. So if you want a really quick midweek meal, this is unbelievable. You can even have all your meatballs ready and rolled and stuck into a container. Have this already made, and then all you're going to do, we'll add 150 of the sauce, and if you want to add a little bit more, add a little bit more, that's fine. I use about half of this jar, because that way, yeah, I know that I've got another half a jar left for next time. So that's about nearly 200. That's fine. So the instruction is now to pop your lid back on, and then the Varoma, which is the big Varoma over here, currently in use as to steam off that, we would put that on top, full of meatballs, put this tray on top, also full of meatballs, put the lid on. I might as well show you properly. You would put the lid on, and then the next step is it's going to cook for 20 minutes on Varoma on speed 2. So this is layered cooking. In here we're making the beautiful spicy plum glaze. So the plum sauce we made, they're nice and thick, it's going to reduce down, but at the same time it's going to make enough steam to cook the meatballs. And then at the end we just put it all together. You can serve it with anything you like. You can do a batch of rice if you want to do a batch of rice. I often will just serve it with steamed veggies. It doesn't matter, whatever you want. It's really versatile. So that's it. I'm gonna leave now and actually cook my dinner. If you've got any questions, you just pop it in the comments and I will definitely always get back to you. And I would love to know if anybody actually tries this recipe. I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you. I'm off. Bye.